really is an honor and a pleasure to be able to introduce this man. You know that in Hollywood, there are a lot of progeny of movie stars and filmmakers where it's not always a blessing to be that progeny. It doesn't always work out particularly well. The gentleman I'm about to introduce, it has worked out spectacularly well because he is a remarkable talent on his own, but he happens to have incredible genes. There's remarkable DNA in this man, and we are here tonight to honor his mother, which is an exceptional thing, I think. Gerladine Fitzgerald has been a big favorite of mine for years, and I'm very happy that we're able to show these two films, and it's remarkable, and I'm honored that Michael has chosen to come out tonight to speak about his mother. This man, we're selling his book outside. Please avail yourself of this opportunity to get this book and to have Michael sign it. It is an extraordinary life story. Despite his parentage, this man has accomplished so much on his own, from the early days of working with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones through being an incredible director and writer in his own right. It's absolutely a fantastic life, and I'm thrilled that he's here tonight to share memories of his mother, Gerladine Fitzgerald. Please warmly welcome Sir Michael Lindsay-Hogg.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm wearing my gray flannels tonight, not my incredible jeans. But I'll do that another time. Did you all know there was an Egyptian theater in Boise, Idaho? Yeah. Well, when I was looking up the exact address, and I've been here before, I was trying to find out 6712, and I Googled it, and it was only when I saw streets called Quail Ridge, Warm Springs Mesa, and Parrot Gulch that I thought I probably wasn't in Hollywood anymore. Shall I talk about my mother?
I think we should talk about your mom. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Here's the deal. I showed a couple of Gerladine Fitzgerald pictures in San Francisco at Noir City, and a gentleman said, you know, you should have Michael come and talk about this, but it was just too late to arrange, and I was so thrilled that we became telephonic friends, and to have this opportunity is absolutely fantastic. So, yes, please.
Well, for me too, and also Eddie, thank you for all the nice stuff you said about the book, but you're a writer yourself, and you know how important it is for people to buy your book.
Yes,
I do. Today, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, I have a special sense of connection to my mother because it was on this day in 1940, not in Hollywood, but in New York City, where I was born. And after 26, I stopped counting anyway. But I think of my mother very much. She was Irish, and you would guess that from if you have a name like Geraldine Fitzgerald. I mean, how much more Irish can you be? And her career started well with Wuthering Heights, and followed by Dark Victory. In Wuthering Heights, I've had the opportunity to see the particular clip lately when Heathcliff scorns her to go back to Merle Oberon, which is not a good move in my view. And my mother is heartbreaking in the scene, and when I was with Laurence Olivier and Brideshead Revisited, he said, you know, your mother was the best thing in Wuthering Heights, and of course coming from him, that's quite an accolade. But she was wonderful. If you ever get a chance to see it again, it's a kind of acting which was so raw and so in touch with some emotional part of herself that is quite staggering, and she's very beautiful then too. At the beginning here, Eddie said how grateful we all are to Warner Brothers Archives. My mother was at Warner Brothers, and my mother was not grateful to Jack Warner. He was a very, very difficult studio boss And my mother, of course, my Edward Lindsay-Hogg left us when I was about 2 and moved to Ireland. And so my mother was a woman on her own. And Warner Brothers, of course, was paying the salary. And a particular form of punishment that they would mete out to an actor for not behaving properly would be suspension. So if they'd say to my mother, we'd like you to play this part, and she said, you know, I was thinking maybe something a little bit different than that, they'd say, no, this is the part you're going to play. And if you don't play it, you're suspended, which meant there was no paycheck. And my mother was the breadwinner, and as well as me and her, there was someone to look after me, because my mother couldn't, because she was over in Burbank all the time, and someone who did the driving. So it was a particularly harsh punishment for a woman living on her own, and also because of her nature. She didn't take rebuff and insult easily. And so she would fight. And
Irish, in other words.
Irish Eddie. And I think with Three Strangers, they wanted to catch some of the lightning of the tale of the Maltese Falcon. Because John Huston is one of the writers of Three Strangers. And John Huston had wanted my mother in the Maltese Falcon. I write about it in the book. Livia de Havilland was a great friend of my mother's, and she and John Huston had a romance, and what my mother said to me was that she didn't think John Huston had treated her pal very well, and that's why she didn't want to do the Maltese Falcon, but I don't think that was true. I think Jack Warner didn't want her to do it because she had pissed him off. And that hurt. And so careers, especially at that time when there was the studio system, they could be really put in the drawer and into cold storage. So my beautiful mother started very well, fought, because that was always what she did. And I don't mean she fought like, you know, we all fight when we're drunk and if you drink. It was more like she fought for what she thought was right or for what she thought was her rights. And it was harsh. It's interestingly also, in the next picture we're going to see, John Garfield had trouble with being suspended because he wasn't offered the kind of parts that he'd like to play. So it was directed by Jean Negulescu, the Romanian artist. I think that's pretty much what I want to say about her and me so far. I'm glad you're here tonight. I'm very glad I'm here. I'm very glad I'm here in many senses. Thank you to my mother for 72 years ago. Thank you to Eddie.
You're very welcome, Mike. And also, I just want to say that when I said at the top that we're celebrating several things here tonight, I would be totally remiss if I did not remark that both of the films we're seeing tonight are directed by Jean Negulescu, who is a very underrated film director of the era, and quite exceptional. And I hope that when we come back to introduce the second film, perhaps you can share some thoughts about him. But it's thrilling, actually, to have Michael here this evening. I really think the accolades to Gerladine Fitzgerald are long overdue, and I am absolutely thrilled that the Film Noir Foundation was able to fund the preservation of the print that you are about to see. This is a film that we have wanted to screen at this festival for many, many years. I know there are a lot of Sidney Greenstreet fans, there's a lot of Peter Lorre fans, and I hope that if you are not familiar with her work, that after tonight there will be just as many Gerladine Fitzgerald fans.